Welcome to Tech Notice, my friends. We have another graphics card, a new graphics card in the graphics card shortage. We have a 3080 Ti. And the question is, how good is it for Premiere Pro and is it the best bang for buck? Well, in this video, you're gonna find out right after this. Would you like to 3x your reach with your live streams while upping the production quality without spending a single dollar? Here's where Restream.io comes in. Restream is a powerful browser-based live stream tool that allows you to restream to multiple social media sites at the same time. But it also pulls all the chats from all the different sites and combines it into one chat, so it's easy for you to keep track of all the messages from different platforms. And not just that, it also offers a very simple to use Restream Studio that lets you design your live stream and customize it to your brand. Restream Studio makes it also very easy to invite in guests for your live stream, even if they're on the other side of the world. And there's much more. The best part of all that is that all that I've just mentioned comes with a free plan. If you're interested in more advanced features like streaming to Facebook pages, stream recordings online, stream pre-recorded videos, 6+ stream participants, full HD streaming, and more, then check out all the paid plans and choose which fits your budget. Check out Restream.io in the video description below. The first thing I want to mention is the availability. Now, who knows when this graphics card will actually be in stock on the shops because of the GPU shortage, if you don't know about that yet. So most likely you're not going to see a lot of those in the store shelves, but that's not because of the fault of Nvidia, maybe partially their fault, but actually Nvidia has been shipping more GPUs this year, or the 3000 series GPUs have been shipped more than during the 2000 series GPU launches. So there's a lot of graphics card being shipped out, but just the demand is so incredibly high then that it's just crazy. Hopefully we're going to see a little bit of a dip in the mining craze and more GPUs will be available, but just the availability is a little bit of a question mark. Who knows when this is going to be available. Now, if you do want to dive into the specific benchmarks and the results of this, I'm going to leave the link of this article below if you want to check that out. But we're going to be looking at some of the main things over here and kind of concluding and making a little bit of an analysis on this. We're going to be looking at the extended overall score, extended live playback, extended export score, and extended FX score. Also, this has been tested by Pugetbench, so they are absolutely awesome guys. So if you are wanting to get like a ready build system for a system integrator for your creative workflow or your creative, purpose, then check them out. They're like, I think, the best guys out there. We are testing this, well, they are testing this on the most powerful platform for the Adobe Premiere Pro, and that is the AMD Threadripper Pro line 64 core, which is the most powerful CPU for Ryzen, and they're testing the AMD Threadripper Pro 64 core processor, and that is the most powerful CPU for Premiere Pro. Now, just if you don't know that, the Premiere Pro program is still mostly CPU oriented or CPU focused program, and GPU is a little bit of an addition. And over the last few updates, Adobe's released more and more updates to get the GPU utilized and kind of help you to get some of the workload dropped off to GPU as well. But still, at this point, it's mostly CPU based program. So let's have a look at this extended overall score now over here. And now you can see that the extended overall score literally slots exactly like you would expect like graphics cards to be. On the very bottom we have the 3060, then 3060 Ti, 3070, 3080, 3080 Ti, and 3090. But that doesn't tell the whole story, and the actual gain of performance isn't linear at all. There's basically two banks of graphics card, the lower end and the higher end. As you can see, from 3060 to 3070, basically they all perform the same, like within the margin of error almost. Or in terms of real world performance, you will not notice the difference between 3060 and 3070 in Premiere Pro. You're most likely going to be bound or bottlenecked by your CPU. The same is on the higher end. The 3080 to 3090, they all perform pretty much the same within the margin of error, and you will not see the difference in terms of real world performance with which one you're using. That doesn't mean that one graphics card isn't better for you than the other one. You're going to see that in a moment. In some of the workflows, you're best to go with another graphics card, and then on some of the workflows or more basic workflows, you're going to be going with the lowest one. So we'll show you that in a moment. But basically, these are the two banks of graphics card, high end and lower end. In terms of the extended live playback score, what this test basically does is goes through loads of different video codecs and then tests the live back speed. You know, if you're doing JKL editing, for example, in Premiere Pro, this exactly shows you that, like how fast is it playing it back, and then multicam playback speed, how many of them and how well does it play back, and things like that. Now we've seen very similar performance phenomenons as before, whereas the lower bank of the cards and then the higher bank of the cards, there's like a gap between there. Now our 3080 Ti is actually a little bit slower than the 3090 and 3080 on the live playback score. Looking at the actual specs over here, it performs on par with the 3090, as you can see over here. 182.6 and 181.7, so there is 0.9 points in between those cards, which is less than 1%. In fact, it's like 0.5% or something like that in between those, so you will never see the difference over there. And then maybe there is 1% of the difference between 3090 and 3080, which is the top of the chart over here, but basically no difference in the extended live playback score. But if you have 8K plus workload, then it's still probably better to go with 3090 or 3080 Ti just because of the more VRAM, because higher resolution codecs just require more VRAM, and that's why I should go with 3080 Ti or 3090 because of the extra VRAM compared to 3080. The question is whether you want to save $300 compared to the 3090, or just cash out extra $300 MSRP and get the 3090. Well, this $300 is imaginative figure because I don't know what the actual, you know, trading prices or going prices, retail prices are right now in the world, because it's just crazy. And even in the lower end of the cards, you can see that they aren't that much behind of the higher end cards if you're wanting just the live playback speed. And this is GPU accelerated or hardware accelerated playback of the codecs, and there aren't that many on Premiere Pro. So there's only, like, if you are on 8-bit, there is only 8-bit 420 H.264 codec that is accelerated with this, and on 10-bit codec, if you have one of those, there is only H.265 420 accelerated with this. So this is what it shows over here on some of the different codecs when playing back on Premiere Pro. Moving on to extended export score. So we have lots of different codecs. We have 8K footage, we have ProRes, we have H.264 and other codecs and things like that. We're testing how good is the GPU exporting this. Now, not all codecs are GPU accelerated when exporting them out from Premiere Pro, and not all export settings are accelerated. For example, if you want a VBR2 pass, then that is software only, so this will go only to your CPU. The GPU accelerated one is, for example, H.264, and one pass, if you want to do that, then that is GPU accelerated. Now, as you can see, the 3080 Ti is, whoa, the best one on the charts. But if you actually look at the difference is 0.7 points over here, which literally is nothing. There is no difference between 3090 and 3080 Ti. There is a slight difference between 3070, 3060 and 3060 Ti compared to the higher end bank of the cards, but come on, look at them. They're basically the same. Your system will most likely be bottlenecked by the CPU. So we're seeing the same phenomenon over here. And last of all, we see the GPU effects score. So basically, some of the effects on Premiere Pro are GPU accelerated, and then your GPU can just help you play those back. For example, Gaussian blur, lumetri color, VRD noise, and lots of other things like that. So especially lumetri color, if you're doing a lot of color grading, then your GPU will help you play that back and get a better timeline performance, because you know the GPU will do that work for you. Now, as you can see, now there is a little bit of a difference between the 3080 and 3080 Ti. As you can see, we're performing a few percent better than the 3080, and we're much closer to the 3090. So the 3090 is still like the best card if you want the effects score for Premiere Pro. But the 3080 Ti is very close, like literally neck to neck up there with the 3090. And then comes 3080 just a little bit behind. And then comes quite a bit down the rest of the cards, which are like 15 to 20% lower on the effects score as all the higher end ones. Now let's wrap it up then. Is the 3080 Ti best bang for buck high-end GPU for Premiere Pro, or is it a bit of a waste of time? It is, I think, most of the cases a bit of a waste of time. So here's why. The 3080 Ti is only 4% better overall than the 3080, which means that for the extra VRAM that you're gonna get, you're not gonna get actually that much of a better performance from the card. And this is only kind of worth it for people who do 8K plus workflows where the extra 2 GB of VRAM will be actually useful. And if you use a lot of GPU effects, for example, color grading or doing with red media or 8K media from other cameras, then that will be actually useful for you when you have a 3080 Ti, because you have a little bit more VRAM. But the thing is, the extra $500 MSRP, let's say it translates linearly to whatever retail price that is in the right now, then that is not worth it over the 3080. Because I would much rather spend the extra $300 and get the 3090 and get it a little bit more future-proof in case, the cameras get higher resolutions and 8K plus codecs very quickly, because 8K is actually, coming more mainstream, and, we have 12K cameras already out there, some of them. Then that makes much more sense, because most likely, if you are shooting and working 8K workflow, you probably can afford the 3090 as well as the 3080 Ti. And if you're really on a budget and you want to save a few $100, then okay, the 3080 Ti is a good, card for you if you're on the 8K workflow. 99.999% of the time, you just go with a 3080 if you want a high-end graphics card, or the 3090 if you are 8K plus workflow and you just want the best card possible, because there isn't that big of a price difference. So hopefully this little rant helped you understand where does the 3080 Ti slot in terms of the video editing in Premiere Pro. You know now that the graphics card really doesn't matter as much as the CPU on Premiere Pro. And how does the 3080 Ti perform in Premiere Pro? If you like this video, you know what to do. If you're new here, consider subscribing, because more videos like these are coming out every single week. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you soon. Adios. Bye bye.